seat you got?
Give me seasick.
Maybe right here, like when you turn in, it's gonna be on the right, but I could be.
If anyone hasn't come up and signed in, come on and sign in or leave your business card.
Let's see.
Thank you.
I'll go.
How you doing? Very good. Thank you. Do this all during the meeting now. You're gonna love sitting next to me.
Well,
I
How are you?
love that horse there. You know, that-
Hi, Heather, I'm sorry.
So, love it.
Already got a little issue with the YouTube. So I went on to.
Navigator?
the
Uh,
Go live, it gives me the account, choose an account,
Yeah,
but the town of Henrietta account is not up here.
yeah.
It's not, it does not give me,
Oh,
no, it just says choose an account.
it's nice. I love the color.
Gives me Kevin
Very
Wilson
cool.
number.
White. Yeah, love it.
That it says use another account.
Mm,
Yes, they're all in. This is, you want town place?
Actually, I just wanted to figure out.
I'm sorry, you broke up. No, it's asking for an email or phone.
You know, I think it is. It's like paperwork. I have to rely on this.
Yeah, this is like, maybe, I don't know if this is the same problem as that.
Okay.
So I went
We're gonna
live on the Zoom. You want one?
I hope I don't need one. Okay, then I'll take his.
On Reeves Road, yeah, 123.
Did you get your warm cookies though?
They want 95.
Okay, great. All right. Other than that, I'm live and I'm ready to roll.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're at the top of the hill.
Yeah, 197 in the.
Great. So then that's ready to go.
Oh, you on.
Heather, thank you very much.
And the one next to us. I think we met.
Okay,
didn't
thanks.
we?
Bye-bye.
I didn't.
We are not
didn't
live on
connect, I'm
YouTube.
sorry.
It's not an issue since we are not in a
Yeah,
public hearing.
yeah, okay,
So
all
for
right.
some reason, this
Yeah,
again
we
doesn't
actually
match
tried to buy
that
that
and
property.
others on their way home to fix it. Okay, so if we can get it up and running, I will.
We can go.
Really?
Yeah. we can go ahead.
Bicycle? Yeah, bicycle, gotcha.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Henrietta Planning Board Workshop Meeting for Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Members present, Matt Borkowski, Patricia Brill, Craig Eckert, Walter Liss, Marcy Reynolds, and Robert Barley is remote with us. Planning Board Attorney Daniel Mastrella. And town staff, Chris Martin, Director of Planning and Engineering, and Luke Bushin, Deputy Director of Planning and Engineering. Welcome, Luke. First item on the agenda this evening will be the minutes from our August 16th, 2022 meeting. The board has had a chance to review those and the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mrs. Brill.
Second.
Mr. Eckert with a second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. We have the minutes. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, application number PB 293.3, Queens Park Subdivision, Section 3. This is for preliminary subdivision approval of a 4-lot, single-family residential subdivision on 9.004 acres of land located at the northwest corner of Martin Road and East River Road in a rural residential zone district. Walt, good evening.
Good evening. Walt Baker with DSB Engineers and Architects. With me tonight is Richard Battisti from Faber Homes. He's representing Faber Homes and also Forest Creek Equity. Bernie couldn't make it this evening in another engagement. As the chairman mentioned, we're here tonight for seeker and preliminary approval for the 4 lots. They're in the current zoning, so it's a minimum 2-acre zoning. And as the board will recall, we were here last month. We had some comments regarding easements to make it accessible for the sewer to be tied in for the adjacent property owners and extend the water main. We also extended the sanitary sewer and also in dealing with the town staff and the supervisor, we put in a cover letter. We had like 5 items listed as what were benefits that we're providing with this 4-lot subdivision. And we've addressed the comments from Chris Martin. We did receive another review letter from him, and they're pretty much technical in nature, put extra pins on for the lots. A letter of credit would be posted. Naturally, we'll do that, and we can comply with basically we get like 6 or 7 comments, and then the rest of them are just basically Monroe County Water Authority, Health Department approval, which we comply with, of course. So, do you have any questions?
Great. Well, thank you, Walt. We'll open it up to the board. I think this will be pretty simple. Again, we just looked at that, as you said, last month, and there's not a lot here this evening, I don't think, but I'll start this evening with Mr. Eckert.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Chairman.
welcome.
I just have one comment from the plans. This is Town Road, right, Martin Road? I didn't see any culvert pipes across the driveways. There's a ditch, roadside ditch, right?
Yeah. It is basically marginal. I mean, it's right about where there's not much of a shoulder right there along Martin Road. It's a small shoulder.
Right.
And I mean, we can review that a little further and put culverts in if you want, but
Only if
grade-
the highway department requests them. I know there's a ditch there. I just don't know how much water it takes.
yeah, there's,
So
yeah,
that's, in my review, it's the only comment that I could come across.
yeah, there's basically like Chris mentioned, there's a high point and a break. And sheds both towards East Henrietta. And
So I think there's a certain part of that water that from the front yards, that goes to the roadside.
right,
Most of it goes back, I think,
correct.
but I think some of it comes up front. So I just don't know how much water that's going to store in that ditch now before it makes it to the road.
Yeah, it'd be pretty minor if anything.
Yeah, but it's not that big of a ditch either. It doesn't look
No.
so.
Yeah, the topo, obviously our survey was out there and the topo, you can see from the topo, but when you're in the field, it might look a little more severe. So
Yeah.
we can take another look at that. If we need to, we could put in a small culvert.
Okay, that's the only comment that I had, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. The chair will recognize Mrs. Brill.
I have nothing. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you. Chair will recognize Mr. Borkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
The only thing that stands out to me is the archaeological assessment. Is there
Mhm.
anything that we know of that's going to be any problem?
We didn't have any trouble on Queens Park 2, Queens Park 1. Actually, we did an entire analysis of that. We had archaeological study done on the entire site. In fact, they did portion of this when they did that. So I think I provided that to Chris already. Yes, yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Borkowski. The chair will recognize Mr. Liss.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Are these lots pre-sold?
No, sir.
No, because they look a little, they're bigger than the other.
Yeah, this is, yeah, as you know, Bernie donated 3 acres to Mary Carriola. So this was the remainder, and this was actually a portion that he was thinking maybe we did incentive zoning years ago. We had a couple different concepts we played around with. But then he said, there's a market for 2-acre lots. These lots are 175 feet minimum width. So he's kind of going to stick with the executive style lots.
All right, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Liss. The chair will recognize Mr. Barley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything.
Thank you very much. Chair will recognize Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mistrella, anything from you, sir?
No, I think the applicant resolved any legal issues with the town attorney and the supervisor, so I think they're all set.
Good, thank you. Mr. Martin, anything, town staff? Okay, thank you. Okay, seeker review indicates that the action under consideration is an unlisted action as per section 617.7 C1 VIII. The Henrietta Planning Board, as lead agency, has determined that the proposed action described below will not have a significant effect on the environment and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be required. The action under consideration is a subdivision application by Forest Creek Equity Corporation. It is an unlisted action and will not require a conditioned negative declaration. The purpose of this application is for preliminary subdivision approval of a 4-lot, single-family residential subdivision on 9.04 acres of land, located at the northwest corner of Martin Road and East River Road in a rural residential zone district. All relevant areas of environmental concern were identified. Evaluation and examination were carefully made in relation of the existing conditions versus the proposed subdivision improvements. It has been determined that there will be no adverse environmental effect as a result of the proposed action. I, James Gruner, therefore make the motion that we make a negative declaration and that the chairman be authorized to sign the statement of environmental significance. I have a sufficient second, please.
I'll second.
Second.
I think Mr. List was ahead of you there, Mr. Barley. Thank you, though.
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The opinion of the chair. The ayes have it. We have seeker approval. And the chair will now make a motion for final site plan approval on application number PB 293.3. Do I have a sufficient second, please?
I'll second.
Mr. Borkowski, thank you.
Who was the first?
I was chairman.
Sorry.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. The opinion of the chair, motion carries. We have a final subdivision approval. Thank you, Walt.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, next on the agenda, application number 22-016, Town Place Suites by Marriott. This is for final site plan approval for a proposed 4-story, 13,500 square foot extended stay hotel with approximately 89 rooms on 2.7 acres located on Kenneth Drive in an industrial zone district. In parentheses, it's got a 2-lot administrative subdivision of the property is pending. So, good evening. Floor is yours.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Spur. I'm with BME Associates. We're the civil site engineers for the applicant Indus Development Company. Also with me tonight is Peter Vars with BME. Jet Meta couldn't make it tonight. He apologizes. He was caught up out of town, but he did just want to let the board know that Indus is very excited for the opportunity to develop one of Marriott's newer prototypes, and especially in this location in the town. This will actually be Indus's first hotel within Henrietta. They own and operate a variety of different hotels and restaurants throughout Rochester and beyond Rochester. So they're excited to work with the town here. As you mentioned, we are requesting site plan approval for a new 4-story hotel, Town Place Suites by Marriott. The hotel will have approximately 89 rooms. It will allow for extended stays, and it is located within the Culkins Road Business Park. We've also submitted the administrative subdivision application, as you mentioned. That is for a 4.5 acre parcel that we are proposing to re-subdivide into 2 parcels. The southernmost parcel will remain owned by the current owner, the same owner of the parcel east of the newly built Taco Bell, and a 2.7 acre parcel will be sold to Indus for the purpose of the hotel development. As mentioned, the newly built Taco Bell is located just south of us, and we are located west of I-390 along Kenneth Drive there. The property is currently vacant, brush. We're not proposing any clearing on the property. The parcel is within the industrial zone district, as mentioned, and our site plan has been laid out in accordance with those development standards. So we're not proposing any variances with the site plan. The town board, we went to the town board and they did issue 2 special use permit applications, one for the hotel use itself within this district, and the second for to allow the hotel to be greater than 40 feet. The proposed hotel is approximately 52 feet at its tallest, the tallest point. The town board also acted as lead agency for the application. They conducted their coordinated review with the seeker process, and they issued a negative declaration at their meeting in July. Relating to traffic there, the board did determine that the project would not have any significant impacts on traffic with their review. They did consult with the town's traffic consultant and as well as the DOT. So both those entities have reviewed the plans during that seeker process. Regarding access for the property, we're proposing 2 curb cuts to Kenneth Drive. The southernmost entrance along Kenneth Drive will provide guests direct access to the lobby and the drop-off area where you see the landscape island circulation there in the middle. And the northernmost entrance will allow direct access to emergency vehicles as north of the hotel drive aisle is the proposed fire lane. So that access will provide direct access for those emergency and service vehicles to the dumpster area in the northeast portion of the hotel of the project, excuse me, and the maintenance room as well as the stormwater management facility in the northeast corner. It is a requirement of the seller of the property that a connection from Taco Bell to the hotel site be made. So that is the access that you see from Taco Bell to the hotel site. And an access agreement and maintenance agreement will be in place between the buyer and the seller for that driveway. We have 98 parking spaces provided on the site, and those are for guests and employees. We'll have ADA accessible spaces and provisions for electric vehicle charging stations as well. We have sidewalks around the hotel, and it is desired that the sidewalks connect to the existing Kenneth Drive sidewalk system. Some other site amenities shown on the plan. We have a patio and grill area. Those will have a fire pit. We also labeled a hard court area that'll either be a small basketball court or tennis courts with some benches and for the guests. Private utilities will be connecting to the public utilities along Kenneth Drive, sanitary sewer, water, gas, electric, telecommunications, and we'll apply for the appropriate permits on those with the town. We'll have private hydrants on site as well. Stormwater will also be handled on site. We have a facility in the northeast corner to detain the runoff and the water on site. We also have 3 bioretention areas located throughout the site to address both quality and quantity per the DEC design manual. We provided a SWIP to the town that has been designed in accordance with the town guidelines as well as the state guidelines. We've received some comments from the town, and we see no issues in addressing those as we move forward. Existing conditions: the site drains east, it sheet flows to the east to the state's highway sewer system, drainage system. There's a swale that does run north along the eastern property boundary, and that eventually discharges to Red Creek. Under proposed conditions, we're going to propose to keep the site also sheet flowing to the east. Some of the parking lot and the building will be picked up by storm sewers, and everything will eventually flow to the bioretention areas and the storm water, where our discharge is in the lowest point in the northeast corner. We've provided landscape and lighting plans. The lighting plans have LED dark sky compliant fixtures. We've also provided architectural renderings and elevations of the proposed hotel. I did provide the town today just some color spec sheets from Town Place Suites. Kind of just gives a little bit better picture of the actual colors. Sometimes they're hard to, when you print them out, they don't give the exact color, but we'll do our best. The landscape plan, we did take a look at the town's landscape design guidelines. We designed that with those in mind. And the applicant likes a contemporary, robust landscape plan. So we'll work with the town and address the conservation board comments as well as the landscape consultant comments. We have 44% green space on the hotel site itself, so that doesn't include any of the vacant land below that. We've also received town staff comments and various consultants, as well as the Monroe County Development Review and Conservation Board. We did provide a letter to the town addressing those comments today. and we don't see any issues with those either. But with that, happy to answer your questions.
Good. Thank you, Rebecca. Good presentation.
Thanks.
And we do very much appreciate when you respond in writing to the comments. It certainly makes our job a lot
Mhm.
easier up here. So thank you for that. I had a question for you, but I just lost it. I don't remember. Okay. Well, we will, we'll move to the board. Mr. Barley, I will start with you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're very happy to have the Marriott come to Henrietta also. It's about time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. How many employees do you anticipate having at the hotel?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Just wondering about job creation and the likes, that's all. Looks like a wonderful project. Other than that, let's see. I mean, if you don't have an answer, you can get back to me on that. It's not a big deal.
Should be in the site data. She's looking now.
She's,
Well, I think it's a little under 10 employees.
Okay. Any land bank parking?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Any parking that's land banked?
We have a few electric vehicle charging stations that are shown right now as land bank. So that's kind of by the hard court labeled area
Uh-huh.
in the northeast corner.
And as far as any snow removal and stuff like that, what's the plan for that?
Yeah, we do show some areas on our site plan. It's pretty much I believe along the eastern side, northern side, and western side of the parking lots.
Okay. Well, I have no other questions. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Barley. Chair will recognize Mr. Eckert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Yes, very good presentation. Thank you. I don't know if I might have missed it in your presentation. What is the hard court on the north side?
It'll either be like a smaller basketball court or a tennis court,
Okay.
fenced in.
Fenced in, so just for use. Is this more of like an extended stay type of format for this? Did I miss that too?
Correct,
So
yes.
This isn't so you're looking for.
I think there's options for both, so it allows for extended stay.
Okay. So
and that's
there's some
kind of the
more
design.
amenities there for
Mhm.
some of those more extended things. Good. Maybe again, a question for the highway superintendent. I saw on the plans, there's a road cut on Kenneth for utilities. I don't know if that's been approved with the
No,
road work that's been done there, if that needs to be bored.
That was certainly a comment that we had, but we'll talk with Mr. Lessing to see what he would prefer.
Okay. And then on the road cut down to the Taco Bell entrance, I see a sidewalk on both sides, east and west, I think, from the site plan.
On the access drive.
Yeah, that one that goes down. I don't think I have a site plan on.
The intent was to not provide a sidewalk there for now, just
Just the road
with
access?
just the road access, just for given there could be, with potential development on that lot in the future. The design could change a bit.
There we go.
Can you just point out on that
Yep.
one, potential development could be where?
It's an easement.
Oh, okay. All right, that looked like. Yeah, I'm looking, I got it confused. It looks like an easement instead. It looked like sidewalks wrapping down and around, so.
Yep.
I just was looking for an ADA if they were gonna terminate on that side, so there's no other sidewalks, so that's fine. On the lighting plan, we just want to make sure we have cutoffs off the property. And do we do a site or a com check for these site lightings?
We typically don't, but we let the applicant do them.
Do we don't have
Require
one
them?
in
No, we
part of
don't
our
typically,
application
we don't
process?
typically require them, Craig, but if you would like it, since
It-
your
it is-
birthday's coming up in a couple days, I think they would be more than happy to do that.
Feeling generous.
Might save you some lighting.
Okay.
I've used them before and it's helped me drop down for some energy savings, so, but I don't want it to contradict what Marriott's lighting
Okay.
scheme. But I did see some of the throws, looks like the backside that came off the property, so I'm not sure if they just need a glare shield or.
Okay, we can take a look.
Those are the only comments that I had, Mr. Chairman.
And what was that lighting that you recommended?
icon check on the lighting. There is a electrical code. Adds up the wattage for the square footage, et cetera. It just checks. that We're not making this into like a Walmart parking lot. May or may not be beneficial. I don't think they want it that bright.
Mhm.
The RX, they're like the DSX2s. They are a pretty bright fixture.
So it basically keeps brightness in check.
Yeah. Got a P2 40K. So, yeah, we just don't need it visible from space.
Thank you.
Use some of the light from Bob Johnson down the corner there.
Well,
Yeah,
that's,
it's a-
yeah, that's where some of these com checks come into play. LEDs have the ability to be very bright.
I'll send Mr. Record.
I am all set. Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman. Thank you.
Chair will recognize Mrs. Brill.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
too want to thank you guys for the hard work that was put in to answer all of the upfront questions to include fire marshal, Stan Tech, landscaping, conservation, and the counties. It's such a huge help. I did have some questions as I was reading through it, and then as I read your answers, they were all answered. So we
Great.
appreciate that. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mrs. Brill. The chair will recognize Mr. Borkowski.
I concur with Mrs. Brill. That helps us out a lot when we go through those things. I mean, we could be here for 3 hours just on an application like this. So it saves us a lot. Now, I've gone through this, but is there anything that you know that stands out at all that we're gonna have to do some administrative stuff behind the scenes, or are we good to go?
You know, from our point of view, I think we are good to go. I mean, there's just the general working with the town, but more or less, yeah.
And I know we got these today, Chris, but did you have a chance to go through them? And
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time, Matt, but I did go through them. They seem pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
I didn't see, there was just, the one question I did have was traffic, but because this isn't county, there's no Monroe
Right.
County DOT, right?
Yeah, this is all New York State DOT. It's a town road. County Drive is a town road, and of course, Lehigh Station Road is a state road. We have been working with the state for that intersection, that Kenneth and Lehigh Station Road. They're kind of looking at it again to see maybe if there's some signal timing they can change, but as far as like lanes and things like that, they're all set.
Yeah, that was really my only hang up that I saw, so I think we're good to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Borkowski. Chair will recognize Mrs. Brill once again.
Thank you. Chris, you reminded me of something that I have asked the question at
Yes.
previous, you know where I'm going with this?
I know where you're going.
Okay.
I'm already
so-
there.
So, I was just there the other day. I stopped at the gas station, Dunkin' Donuts, and I was getting on the throughway, so I remain in the right lane. And I have to stay right to go to the far right, but people that are not from here get in the left lane because their GPS says turn left. And then it's immediately gonna say turn right, so they have to cut over. And I was cut off so quickly, and I used to work in that complex. I saw it a lot. But it happens so often, and I'm thinking, especially now with a hotel, they're all gonna be out of town. When they pull out of town place, they are going to be in the leftmost lane. Right out of the gate, right where it starts, so. Unless there's cat tracks there to really direct them, the cat
Yeah.
tracks is that term I learned a few
Yep.
meetings ago. And every time I go through there, I'm cut off, I see a little picture of you smiling at me. Because
I'm touched.
it's just, I mean, I'm in there so often and without a town, people that are not familiar.
Yeah.
People that work there, or whatever, they know they're getting on the throughway, they have to stay in
I'm
the
still
right.
blushing. I'm sorry, Patty, go ahead.
So, being Lehigh Estate Road,
So to answer your question, and I may pawn this off on my esteemed colleague, but a couple of weeks ago, we did have a meeting with the New York State DOT to discuss a variety of items. Unfortunately, I was not at that meeting. I was out of town, but my esteemed colleague, Mr. Record, I believe was there. And I don't know if they discussed this, but I think this was one of the topics of discussion. But I remember what the supervisor said, Craig, is that they were still looking at it. They know that there's an issue there. But it just takes a little more time to take a look at the problem.
I wasn't there for the entire conversation, but I can add on to that a little bit. The exit from Kenneth onto Lehigh they're gonna relook at the entire intersection and try to find some traffic calming techniques or some better routing, whether that's striping or something else. The overall perspective, though, really kind of went towards a larger scale fix, which was a different off ramp, and then possibly even another on-off ramp at Calkins, right here to our west, where it could be a different exit to try to take some of the congestion off of that intersection, making it maybe a little bit safer. To be frank and honest, I think it was even Supervisor Schultz's recommendation to the state to bring another ramp and tie it into the Taco Bell entrance, and to actually have an exit ramp into that throat off of 390 South, so that you don't even have to get to Lehigh.
But that's an exit ramp.
That's right. That doesn't
And
help.
the concern is getting out of there and onto.
Correct. So that, they're gonna look at that. They haven't, that wasn't addressed as one of the more bigger concerns, unfortunately, in that conversation. You know, the Lehigh, but that whole intersection is going to be looked at. People coming out, turning right and turning right, as far as turning left and then trying to turn right. That one has not come up as too much of an issue, unfortunately, I guess at this point. So I don't know if that was discussed a whole lot, but we can bring it up.
It needs to be brought up. I'm all set, thank you.
You spilled a couple cups of coffee trying to make that turn. Is it?
For years. I mean, I worked there for so many years. So anyway, I digress.
Okay. All set, Mrs. Brill?
Yes.
Mr. Borkowski, you're set? Thank you. Chair will recognize Mr. Barley. Have I talked to you yet on this one?
Yes, you have. Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
thank you. Okay. The chair will recognize Mr. Liss.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the very thorough presentation. This looks like a great project for that particular area, and I'm sure it'll be very welcome there. So thank you very much, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Liss. Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And I don't have any questions at this time, other than the traffic ones, which have already been discussed, because I'm in and out of Kenneth Drive every day.
Very good.
It is a challenge.
Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds. Mr. Mistrella? Sir, anything? No? Town staff?
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll present a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. I have a sufficient second, please.
I'll second.
Second.
Give it to Mr. Barley.
Mr. Barley, thank you, sir. Okay, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Welcome to Henrietta.
Thank you.
Rebecca, Peter, I have an off question based just off this. Didn't want to intercede with it. The project to the parcel to the east of Taco Bell. Have you heard anything on that one yet?
Yeah, that's the property owners.
Yeah, I just didn't know if they've reached out with this development to put that a little bit more at scale, or possibly for something going in. I've reached out to the hospitality group at the Taco Bell that lost to Burger King to try to find something else, and I've given them a couple of options, or what, what the town I think would like to see.
Do they own a Mexican restaurant?
No, but the one, I did reach out to the one at Parks Point. They have not even opened that one yet. So my wife keeps asking me on that one. So I've reached out to see what else would go there, and this project may help
Okay.
accelerate that too. I don't know if Marriott has a preference.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if sometimes you see smaller developments travel along with some of these
Right.
larger ones, and
Yeah, I mean, not, but Indus has quite the portfolio of national brands that they represent also.
right.
Any car washes? No.
Well, I reached out to the one group thinking that's something that the town doesn't have, albeit a Hardee's or
Right.
if it's going to be a quick service restaurant or something else.
Hardee's.
What year is
We all said Hardee's under our breath.
Aren't they still out there?
Or big boy? Yeah.
A&W or what is it? I'm not sure what
Carol's.
Oh, no, they're still out there.
yeah. So
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you very
Bye,
much.
guys.
Bye.
Okay, next we have a discussion item. Market Square Retail Building Addition. This will be familiar to all of us. We're going to consider reapproving application number 18-011 for an 8,600 square foot building addition This project was originally approved on October 9th, 2018. Construction was never commenced. Matt, welcome back.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you again.
Me too.
So for the record, Matthew Oates, Spenderson Development, 570 Delaware Ave, Buffalo, New York. We're in front of the board. I believe it was last month discussing the 8.6K addition. The main comment was the access from the front drive lane to the back of the building. Costitch went back through, looked at the engineering. We were able to get a 12-foot drive lane along the side. This area, so 12-foot wide. We do have curbing on it. We eliminated the sidewalk that was there to pick up that extra 5 feet. We're able to work, as Craig had suggested, with the detention pond, just going down at like 1 to 2 in that area to make it work. So it's going from front to back. So if there's any traffic issues in that area, cars can still get to the back. Or if they're going to pick up anything from Christmas tree shops, they'll still have the ability to do it on site. In addition to that, we have a few comments from Chris. Nothing that came up as any concern at all. Seemed all pretty straightforward. I think that was the only real issue still with the board, was to see about that road. But if there's anything else, I'm more than happy to discuss it. I do know there was one comment in regards to the architecture for the side, just to kind of bring up, this one where we kind of broke it up now. And once we kind of get a tenant, we'll work with them to kind of get something a little more tenant specific in regards to like the use like Bye Bye Baby has there, but we'll make sure that's included on the architecture plans to get submitted.
Well, Matt, listen, thank you very much. We appreciate your work on this with us. This is a great compromise. I think this is what we were all looking for. And thank you, Mr. Borkowski, who was the main impetus of this. This will work. And I did see all your literature or your information on the traffic studies, and it doesn't look like it was that big of a deal based on those numbers. But obviously, some of my colleagues on the board did notice something. So this is great. Thank you very much. We'll go down the board. Mr. Barley, any comments on this project, sir?
My favorite plaza in Henrietta. I'm there all the time. I really strongly believe that what they've done will help, but I don't think it's going to alleviate the problems that will consistently happen on Clay Road, with Jefferson Road being as close as it is. And with that being said, everything looks great, but I'd have to decline approving the project. I'm one vote, but that's my opinion.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Barley.
Thank you.
Recognize Mr. Eckert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe that the applicant has come through, come through a lot of hoops, but addressed all the concerns and the issues that we had with this. It's not optimum, but it's the best shot at trying to mitigate the concerns that we had. So I don't have any other comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. Chair will recognize Mrs. Brill.
Thank you. I think it's fabulous. You asked what we had been requesting, it's one way, and the exit can be in the far north exit onto Clay Road. It's giving them access to the rear of the building or sneak throughs if people I know one of my esteemed colleagues mentioned he sneaks through and goes out that other side entrance. And I was just at the plaza half an hour before I got here. Shopping, you're welcome.
I appreciate it very much.
I did drive by the Home Depot and went by a little slower than I normally would to see the parking area where they store the mulch, and then the drive-through area to ensure, because we had talked about, hey, what's in their contract? What can they and can't they do? And the driveway is a double driveway and it was free and clear. The mulch was in the driveway portion. So as long as they keep that double access road open, and now we have the single to the east, I think it's going to be a great compromise for everything that's going to be required. And I had nothing else. So thank you for looking further into this.
Thank you, Mrs. Brill. Mr. Borkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Well, Matt, I know I've been your primary nemesis on this thing, right? I agree with Mr. Barley in certain senses. This is not optimal, but I agree with Mr. Eckert more. Part of what our job is to do what's best for Henrietta. We're trying to do it, but we also compromise because we want the businesses here. And you guys have been consistently one of the better ones. So I'm pretty confident, and I think you know this as well as I do. You could have pushed this and won because you got that approval based on what it was. So the fact that you bent over backwards and still did something you didn't really need to do goes a long way with me personally. Unfortunately, it sounds like you might have a new nemesis with Mr. Barley here. But
No, no, I love Matt.
As long as you still shop there, we're okay.
Yeah.
I'll be there all the time, Matt, but that corner is gonna be crazy.
yeah, I agree, Mr. Barley, but the thing is it does take the stress off in the way that I was concerned with. And in fact, the way that you curve this in the back is pretty smart too, because it will deter people from using it as just a blatant cut-through. But as an overflow emergency, I think it's actually a smart way to deter just everybody going through there. But if they need to, they've got it now, which was my whole concern. So I think this is a great job. I really appreciate you taking this back to the drawing board. If this goes to the vote, you got mine. I think you finally you beat me up.
Thank you, Mr. Borkowski. Chair will recognize Mr. List.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, with working with what we have given you, it's great, and I'm looking forward to getting this past us. I noticed that this is a lot smaller than your other footprint stores. Do you have any idea what?
Our
Potential tenant?
expectation is it'll be 2 tenants, probably a little bit, we call them smaller shop because they don't go as deep. So that was kind of why getting with the frontage we have at about 68 feet, going all the way deep, we're not going to get a tenant to kind of take what we would call like a bowling alley space. So about 125 is as deep as they go. So we'd expect 2 tenants that we have. We are working with one right now. That's another plaza of ours in Syracuse, actually. So we're working to hopefully bring them here. They did a really good job in Syracuse, and we're trying to get them to some other places.
Not Mexicans.
It is not, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'd like to add another thing. I really appreciate Benderson, the upkeep, the maintenance of your property on Jefferson Road, both the Market Square and Market Center across the street. Excellent care of the property and the landscaping. I think you should be commended for doing that, for taking care of that property.
Because it is all you.
Well, we do appreciate that. And it's the Benderson family really that does it, because they'll go out there. I mean, they split their time between Buffalo and Florida, but they go out there and they see something wrong. They'll call you, they're on it. They hammer us on stuff, and they'll spend on plazas. We'll spend money to redo sidewalks when no new tenants come in, just because they want to keep on making it look nice. But what that gets us is it gets us to national tenants. It gets us Marshalls, Bye Bye Babies. They consistently come to our plazas, which really in the long run is a win for everybody, win for ourselves, win for the town, and wins for the tenants.
Right. In addition to Benderson, is our neighbor here over here, Wegmans, the care that they give. If other commercial developers in our area would follow suit, it would be a nicer world here. Thank you.
I agree. Makes our job a little bit
Thank you,
easier,
Mr.
but-
List. Chair will recognize Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have any comments at this time.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Mistrella.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Anything from town staff, Mr. Martin? Excellent. Well, the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Mrs. Brill, thank you. Do I have a sufficient second, please?
I'll second.
Mr. List, thank you. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Thank you. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Matt, congratulations and thank you once again.
Thank you very much. I really
Much
appreciate it.
appreciated.
I really do appreciate the comments like that and pushback at times, because sometimes we lose forest through the trees at times as well. And getting that second opinion is not really helpful.
And we live there, I mean, all joking aside,
Yes.
the amount of time. And so we see it at times other than, let's say, when a traffic study may have been done or whatever. So we really appreciate taking our honest, heartfelt comments. So that's awesome. Thank you. True that.
Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Matt.
Have a great night.
The chair would like to acknowledge Councilwoman Sefranek. Sefranek or Sefranek? Sefranek, thank you. I apologize. Thank you for coming this evening. Last item on the agenda tonight is application number PB 331, Riverton Parcel E subdivision for final subdivision approval of a 3-lot subdivision of plus or minus 26 acres for the purpose of creating a conservation area to be donated to the town located at Moore Road and Scottsville West Henrietta Road in a planned unit development zone district. Is anyone here from the applicant this evening?
Anybody online?
No, there's nobody on that.
She said no one was coming in.
All right, why don't we do this? Let me give you a few more minutes, but I don't know, in the meantime, we did get an application for Panera Bread. I want to move over now.
Excuse me, I cannot hear what's being said.
It's
Your
a secret.
mic, Chris?
Need to use
Yeah.
the microphone.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Rob. I keep forgetting you're out there. So right now the applicant hasn't shown up yet. So in the meantime, I thought what we could do is to see maybe if he does show up. We have new building elevations for Panera Bread. They just came in probably a little after 4 o'clock. So we did send them to all the board members, but we did print out some as well. So I thought if
Do you have one?
we have a few minutes, if the board would like to take a look at them and just see what your thoughts are, and I can certainly relay any concerns that you have or not have with the applicant.
I think they look, my opinion, it looks better, especially that northern elevation, right? Yeah.
Right,
the
the
one
north one was obviously the big
from the
concern.
Jefferson Road, yep. And so,
Does anybody want to see a copy? I know some of them we handed out.
no, this is the current one. This is the new one.
I'd love to see.
The other one was
before and
kind of
after.
straight across, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was very bland. I don't think there was as much glass there, if I remember right.
I can search for it.
I
But-
just might be able to pull it up.
And what's
here.
the, anybody you know what the application number is on this?
Oh, no, I don't have it on my list here. But even that slight little,
It would have been
No,
in July,
can't remember what it was.
right? Wouldn't it have been?
Yes.
July, yeah.
It was a 22, yeah, it was 22 number, or like 12 or 13 maybe.
Market Square, Masonic Splash, Mary Carey Love. No, it's not July. Let's
Nope.
try August. Or June. maybe.
It may have come up in May or June.
It's June.
Yeah, June.
I don't have the.
No, August, I guess.
Look at this.
Didn't we look at one last month and we were a little
Yes, we
perturbed that
were
they didn't change it?
underwhelmed. We were
Yeah.
underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed. That's a good term for it.
That would have been August.
That's a nice term for Ben. She may have taken off.
No, that's the.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Heather has removed it from this laptop. I was gonna share it and
Can I
Oh, no,
see?
here it is. Yeah. So that is different. So that's that. See if they broke up this stark contrast here.
Yep. And they elevated the roof on either end
Yeah.
slightly.
Is this the same elevation? North, yeah.
Yeah. So anybody want to see that? That's
Okay, so
old
the
one.
brickwork here
new one.
Yes.
and the
The
signage,
Sign, yep.
yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's more attractive.
Yeah, they did break it up where we wanted it.
Exactly.
It looks
Yep.
noticeably better.
Yeah.
That looks like a prison.
That's, then, can you see that north elevation, Rob?
Thank you.
You're muted, sir.
Yeah, I had some dogs barking. Yes, I can see that, Craig.
Okay, good.
It's a lot better.
It's the new one then.
Yeah, even breaking up the color makes it a ton better.
It sure does. Yep.
Okay. I'm good with it.
Thank you.
So I'll poll the board. Mr. Barley, any comments? Do you want to vote in favor or in not of the new
No,
elevation?
I'm in favor of the elevation that we see
Okay.
here.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Eckert.
I don't like it. I'm not gonna be the opposing. If everybody else likes it, I'm good with it.
Okay.
You know, my email back to the developer was, I want the storefront up front. There's no reason not to wrap that corner around to the front, make the storefront match in, just like they've done on 3 other locations. I'm actually a little bit perturbed that I've given them Eastview, Fairport, I don't know how many we've gone through with the emails where they're the same exact location with a drive-through. And the other locations, they have the storefront in the front. I'm not understanding why this one can't have a storefront in the front. If it's matches, then I'll be in agreement with you. They've done a lot, and I'll give them credit. They keep coming back. I just don't know why they don't want a storefront facing Jefferson Road.
Ridge Road too. The one on Ridge Road is like that.
Yes, Ridge Road was another one, but they did a lot of landscaping to cover that. I don't know if you saw the berm and the tall grasses that were installed to cover that. And Greece has never been, a top-notch review agency in in my decades of engineering and stuff that I've seen, the stuff that they let through. Look at the Chick-fil-A that still has problems with the drive-through, right? Right. So, I don't ever really give them kudos for doing things correctly, but Parrington's is right up front. And that storefront is up front and all the parking's in the back. Eastview's the same way. That's visible from 96, and I forget the third one that we found.
And we did send them like pictures and elevations of the Victor one, right?
Buffalo.
Correct. Buffalo was the third one, again, right up by the road. Drive-through and storefront was in the front.
So
So-
do we have a south elevation to peek at?
Yes.
There.
They've kind of mimicked it.
Yeah.
It's there on the screen.
Thanks.
Yeah, that they didn't change at all.
No, that stayed the same from what I could tell. I did pull that up from the last.
Yeah, I think it was just a north elevation.
But
Yeah, I
they-
pulled up the last elevations from before.
They have pretty much, with the exception of the green.
Yeah, you know what,
It's just a doorway.
with what Craig's saying, it's true. We did, the whole
Yep.
intent was to have them switch the orientation. This is a lot better cosmetically, but it's really not what we asked for. So I could go either way. I'll go with the team on this one.
Yeah.
But I get, yeah, with Craig leading this thing up and really not getting any
Hmm.
response, I think I'd be a little miffed too.
What kind of landscaping are we talking to the north? I don't recall how much room there was.
There was some landscaping island areas, I think, that, interspersed with the grass. But it
Yeah,
wasn't
not a
meant
lot.
to be
There-
tall. It
It
was meant
was
to
a
be
narrow
low.
strip, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's meant to be low-lying shrubs and landscaping.
Yeah, but I think there was some landscaping out by the road. However, they do want to keep it somewhat open so people can see it.
The one at Greece, I recall from the street view, had like 4 or 5 foot tall grasses that helped, I think, kind of hide the cars that were sitting in that drive-through up front.
Mhm.
But, so I agree that one was another negative. I get a little, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'll be honest, I'm miffed that they want to put the back end of this building towards Jefferson Road. I guess I was still, maybe incorrectly so, a little dissuaded by that. I don't know why you would want to do that. This is not Mushroom Boulevard where people don't drive up and down. We want it to look nice.
And you've got an opportunity here. Chris,
And-
is this
What
something, is this something we can just send back to them and say that's not
Oh,
what we asked for?
absolutely. We did it
Well,
with
I don't want to sway,
we
and
did it
I
with
probably already
McDonald's.
have.
Go ahead, Craig.
I'm sorry, I don't, if the group thinks that they've done enough, then I'll back off.
Well, that's what we'll pull everybody and see where we stand. And it's,
To be honest, I'm looking at, the before and after, it is much, much better. And did you dissuade me? I do like it much better. But you are absolutely 100% right. You did say the words.
Mhm.
I do not want the rear of the building being towards our main thoroughfare in our town. And I mean, if they were to bring that green that they're showing on the northern elevation around to the southern elevation, where we're seeing the sign Panera, see how they have the little strip that's
Right.
gonna be facing to the,
Right,
I
if they
guess
had
the-
wrapped that storefront around that green entrance, the door entrance there as well.
Mhm.
I think I would be happy. But that's, again, putting the storefront on that elevation. And I'm going with, I've driven up and down the road and I've Googled up and down. I mean, 110 Grill is the same.
Yep.
Longhorn Steakhouse is the same. The Red Robin has kind of like the entrance, but it does wrap around. The entrance is on like the west side, but it wraps around that front.
Mhm.
Chick-fil-A's opposite to the front, Mission Barbecue's to the front.
Well, I'm personally with Craig on this. I say send it back to him.
okay.
I say if they take that exact brick void, the darker brown, and they wrap that green around exactly as you see here, down to the lower brick, it's going to be exactly what was asked for the first time. So what they've done here, we're almost to the finish line. If they wrap that green around and preface the word, a storefront on our main thoroughfare.
But do we need an entrance there? I think there's
Well,
no
there's-
parking there, right? So why
There
would
is
they want
parking on the north
There
side.
is an
There is.
entrance.
on the
I
north?
don't think she- I don't think she's saying put the entrance there.
No.
She's saying just wrap.
No, but Craig wants a door. He wants an entrance on the north the north elevator. Craig wants a door right here in the
But
corner.
are you okay with the one over here, Craig? Because that's how like somehow
Well,
the McDonald's
Even
are.
even a glass facade still works. That's, I think that was only meant to be an exit door. That's not I
Okay,
think that's meant to grab your food and go out because there is parking on the north side.
There is parking and along the
minimal.
drive-through,
Yeah, on the
Okay.
other side of the
so
drive.
they probably don't anticipate many people.
They don't
entering that
probably
way,
expect many people.
okay,
like-
so this is the entrance anyway, so the doors would be here.
Correct.
Agreed.
So, but that can still wrap around and maybe it's not doors, but it's just glass to mimic a storefront. So it's all on that eastern side. If it continues, it's down the east face.
Uh-huh.
That's west. So that east face, if they were to take that and also mimic it on the north face
Mhm.
on that other corner.
So there's not gonna be any parking to the south.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, the Hobby Lobby
That's the
parking is
main,
to
that's the main
south.
parking
That's
field.
where all the parking is
That
gonna be to
faces
the
Hobby
south.
Lobby.
I'm trying to gather. where
These
it
two
is.
building fronts will face each other.
Yep.
And the park is all in the middle.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to maximize the site with the parking and everything
So
else. I think that's
parking
why-
will be to the
south,
south,
yes.
so why not have an entrance here?
No.
Yeah,
there
they
is.
have it.
He's talking. Craig's
That is the
in
south
north.
end.
Then I'm incorrectly saying
Looking
it.
looking from Jefferson Road, this is what you see.
Yep.
Craig
So
wants to wrap it
I
around.
misstated that. So is there gonna be parking to the, on the northern, up against the Jefferson Road side?
Yes.
There's
There
a
is
few
a,
spaces.
huh?
I think there's a few spaces, right?
There's a
for
few,
Employee
yeah.
parking.
Yeah, I don't know if it was employee or not. There is
Yeah.
some. I don't know if it's a half dozen or less. They wanted to put the dumpster up there too, remember? And they moved that around.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conservation board had a lot of concerns and they.
So I don't know if that,
So I understand that they might be trying to drive their main entrance to the other side based on traffic through the store. So it would really make a difference where the bakery is, where the order is, where the pickup is and all
Right.
that, but.
so here's a perfect, to me, again, this is another example. This is 250-441. This is just south. So there's the Panera Bread that's listed. The drive-through is on the north side. So all the parking is either on what would be the south or the east side,
Mhm.
right? Can I do, I don't know if I can do it. Oh, yeah, I can do a street view, right?
Is that considered Penfield
Mhm,
when you're looking at
Is it?
mhm.
like, Jeremiah's over there?
So. There's the storefront.
Mhm.
They have no parking on that side whatsoever, yet that storefront is with the seats and the seating area, and that whole facade is facing the main thoroughfare.
And notice it's just the brick and the logo.
Right.
Boy, I like those overhangs
Right.
over those windows. Those are
And that's the
beautiful.
same for, that's, I think Eastview has a little bit. This is their access road, so that's even a little bit more plain to that access road. They've put the pizzazz towards the main thoroughfare.
I like the one in Penfield. That's, yeah. I get
Yeah,
that.
Well, let's continue with our poll here and see where we go. So Mr. Barley was in favor, Mr. Eckert, negative, Mr. Borkowski, negative, Mrs. Brill.
I think they need to look at it again and wrap that green around to the north portion of that brick under the Panera logo.
Okay, Mr. Liss,
I'm a negative.
you're negative, Mrs. Reynolds,
I'm also underwhelmed. I'm negative.
okay. And I'm okay with it. So it's 5-2. So Chris, we're gonna send it back.
Oh, I thought I was a tiebreaker. Am I not?
What's your choice? What do you
No,
believe?
no, I'm gonna let the board just chew on
It's-
it. No, so yes.
It's
I
5-2
will,
opposed to what they've
yeah,
given
I
us
mean, to be
today.
honest,
So
I think it's a lot better than what it was. And to be honest, I'm okay with it. But that's just my humble opinion.
well, we're still short 4 votes, so,
Yeah.
or
Dan?
3 votes. How about the new guy? He gets 2 votes.
But yeah, you know what? I don't have any problem taking this back to
Yeah.
the applicant and saying, hey, look, do we still have some concerns? What can you do to address them?
Okay,
That's what this board is for.
that's fine.
Yeah. And
So, Mr. Chairman, I have my hand up, but I don't think you guys can see that.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So
sir.
I'll just make a comment that you know, it sounds like we're all saying the same thing. Yeah, it's a lot better than what it was, but much to what Mr. Eckert is saying and everyone else agreeing, can it be made better? Sure, it can be made better. And we had this same problem with McDonald's. And we don't have to rush through this. I think we should send it back to them and see if they can do better.
Okay. Very good.
You know, we just talked to Benderson about how beautiful, how they take care of their properties, how the forefront, you know, and I'm thinking about some of the restaurants that are there. While their frontage is on the south side, which is the street side, so I guess that's a little different, but you know, we just talked about them. Kudos to them for taking care of, for being such beautiful properties. I'd love to, you know, stand firm on what we believe in and make that just a super beautiful area. The gentleman who's building that area, forgive me,
Frank and Bergia.
Frank and Berger, yeah.
in Bergia, I remember him vividly saying to us when he first came in, he said, this is going to be my,
And showcase for.
that's not the word he used, but that's what he meant.
Wow.
He used a word that means that. And I want it to be my,
Because it's Menotti Plaza.
It's
and I
Menotti
want
Plaza.
it, I want to do the utmost in landscaping. I want it to be the best of the best and yeah, so he would probably agree with us. I'm not speaking for him, but based on what he said that day. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, and these comments will be online that the develop, you know, that the design engineer can take a look at.
Good point.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Martin, we don't have the applicant here for application PB 331, but I also know that there's nothing on the agenda next month.
Yes.
Can we act on this?
Can we act on this without the?
Well, it's kind of like my high school prom all over again. I got stood up. So, Dan, what do you think? I mean, certainly they've already been before the board. We've had a preliminary hearing. We don't have any applications for the next planning board meeting. Can we take an action on this?
Absolutely. Nothing that it's on the agenda, there's nothing to keep you from it. It's just if we weren't satisfied with what the stage of. I'm sorry, Rob. If you were not satisfied with the stage it's at, I'd say you should table. it. But if you're satisfied, you can act on it in the absence of the applicant.
Okay.
Just a
Just
subdivision.
a subdivision approval, yep.
Yeah, and when we did, like I said, a public hearing and preliminary subdivision a long time ago, but we kind of sat on because the applicant wasn't sure what they were going to do with that middle piece of land. And since then, I think must have got their tax bill. They decided that, you know what, maybe this would be a good piece of land to donate to the town.
And this is just us taking dedication of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, this is just us taking dedication of that.
No,
land.
the town
No,
board-
no, no.
board.
So the town board gave their opinion on it at the last town board meeting. So this would be to grant final subdivision approval.
Okay.
Approval. Seeker's already been done. So it's just granting us final subdivision approval. I mean, there weren't that many comments really left to comment on.
Yeah.
And maybe
So-
that's what Jess thought, because this is Jess Sudol, so that's highly unlike him.
Yeah.
So maybe he just thought the same because.
No, there was probably a mix up. I think we did contact everybody.
Okay.
Heather did, and everybody was gonna show up in person. So I don't know what happened, but you know,
He-
things do
He's
happen.
glad he's missing because I think the Panera was his.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well, thank you, Will. Chair
I
will,
don't have any other participants. I just wanted to double check and see if anybody logged on.
okay. Well, thank you. Well, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Oh, yes, Mr. Eckert.
I
Yep.
just wanted to make sure the town board didn't take the ownership, but
No.
they agreed to it.
Agreed to it. That's a good
Oh.
point. So they agreed to it because we can't take dedication until it's subdivided. And it's not legally
They
subdivided.
were in agreement. They didn't, I don't recall any other comments from the town board meeting last week.
No, the town board was okay with taking the land and just as a long-term thing. What we would probably do in the future is we would trade that land to Rush Henrietta Central School District, who owns the parcel just north of that. And they need a certain amount of acreage if they ever want to build like an elementary school or a junior high or whatever. There's a minimum amount, and this sliver of land would give them that land that they need to meet the minimum state requirements. And then we would trade them for, you know, maybe another piece of land someplace else.
So we have some bigger implications as to, you know, potential school growth and with the town growth and et cetera. So, but I wanted to make sure that there weren't any other comments from the town board, from what I recall.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
And as you know, this is a growing part of town. There's more development in this area, quadrant of Henrietta than any other place. So I could see certainly an elementary school going somewhere. in the
Easily,
next
yep.
10 years.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve application number PB 331.
Mr. List, thank you. Do I have a sufficient second, please?
Second.
Mr. Eckert, thank you. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Barley?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All opposed, say nay. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, the motion carries. We're all set. Motion to adjourn.
7:06.
Thank you, Mrs. Brill.
7:05, sorry. You got it.
Second.
I think we're good. So nothing for October.
Millie?
Thanks,
That's
Millie.
Thank you.
I'll give everybody the month off. Now, it's always possible that something may sneak in but I gotta be honest, at this point, we would just probably push them off to November. But
Very good.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Sure.
Chris, for the record, if you ever get stood up at the prom again, just give me a call.